Okay, who do you play?
Play Cedric Gray. He's the youngest son of 3 sons from Sir Thomas Gray, my father. And he's the prankster of the family, I think, you know, the skirt-chasing kid. And he's been reared to study for the church as a cleric rather than become a knight like his older brothers, and he desperately wants to do that, but he's being pushed back into this corner, and he has this, you know, religious path to follow, and he doesn't really want to do that. And you'll see, you know, in the pilot he gets to swashbuckle and stuff like that to overcome, you know, this thing that he's meant to do.
Now, you know, the show as a whole is sort of so different from anything else that's on. If a friend or somebody asks you, what's the show about? What would your answer be? What's it about?
I said this to an American interviewer that came over. I said, it's kind of a medieval bonanza. And then someone called me and said, geez, you got to see the cover of the LA Times. It says a medieval bonanza. So, you know, that sums it up really, the strong father, you know, the kids, and it's really like, it's 1350 instead of, you know, Ponderosa, you know, with the castles and stuff like that. And, you know, there's 3 sons, a daughter, and we're all, we don't have a mother. The mother's dead. And, cut. And it's basically, do you want to know about the pilot?
Well, no, they will have seen that already. It's just generally what the show is like, and then which about you, what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a conflict in each episode, you know, to, you know, for example, the one that we're doing now is the story about the brother. My older brother returns from the Crusades, and he's not the brother we all thought he was. He's 250 pounds heavier and likes to eat. And, you know, we go to see the Duke, and, you know, all these bandits come in, and you know, we're all hostages. So it's, you know, and in each episode there's, you know, a conflict there, you know, where we've got to do something, draw our swords or something to save our father. It's always that the kids come to the rescue type of thing. You know, we've gained strength from our father, so now you're really seeing how we're growing up and that we can actually take care of things and actually, you know, save people, I guess.
Okay, let's get to you as an actor now, because you're in a unique position in that you're doing the 2 shows.
Yeah, really.
But when I saw this pilot, I thought, God, isn't that strange? He can do an English accent perfectly.
Yeah.
Because to watch you, one would assume that you were born and raised in the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah.
What is your background?
Well, I was born in Dublin, Ireland, and I lived there for 18 years.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I've only been in the States about 4 years. So it's very strange. I mean, we're getting this mixture of Irish, English, and American stuff happening in this. So it's hard to, you know, you've got to really sit down and concentrate about, you know, which accent do you really want to do tonight or something. So, and it's fantastic. I'm flattered the way that I have this show now. And then, you know, I can skip across to the States. I was there 2 weeks ago to do a bunch of episodes for the upcoming season on Roseanne, and that was very strange just to be there and then come back a week later, and then you're in these armor and swords and wigs and everything. It's just very strange Halloween stuff. So it's great being able to do it, you know.
Yeah, it could get really schizophrenic. Well, it's so rare, I find, for a British actor to be able to do an American accent. Peter Sellers was good at it, but very few are.
Yeah.
When you first went to the U.S., did it come easy to you?
Well, I used to go there as a kid, 6, 7-year-old, you know, and I'd come back and I'd have this Yankee accent, and all the people in class would want to sit next to me, and they said, oh, I want to sit next to him, he's been to America. And so I was always taking them off, and then when I got over there, it was just basically, you know, observing and listening to how they speak and their tune, whereas, you know, the English lilt and everything is it's complete opposite. You know, they speak in, you know, in one sentence deal, you know, whereas the English are up, down, and the Irish as well. So it came very naturally, the American, and that helped me get the Roseanne thing. Yeah. And then coming back was really strange, just trying to do this English thing. So I had to draw on, like, old friends and stuff to remember, and basically being around an English crew all the time. Right, you know, I mean, if you forget anything, you can always go up and ask a rigger, like, how do you say this? You know, so it's easy, really, when you know, when you're involved in this. I mean, you can just you know, get into what other people are saying, and you're drawn into how they're feeling, and it comes out. You know, so.
Sure does. It's really worked for you. So you've been, you said, in the U.S. about 4 years?
Yeah, in Los Angeles.
And it was Dublin before that, so you lived in a city, so you weren't a
Yeah,
country, you weren't a
no, I
country
wasn't
boy.
a farm boy, no. No, I can't give you that sob story.
Now, did you know that you were going to act when you went to the U.S.?
Never, no. I was working on these nuclear power plants for about a year, 20 stories high, rope around you with your grinder. You know, I was a lot of jobs, a painter, a waiter.
Was this in California?
Yeah, so I did some stuff for years before any of this happened.
What brought the subject of acting into your mind?
I met this girl, and she said, why don't, you know, a few people, they were like saying, you know, we should do this, try it, you know, and I said, sure, I don't. So, you know, I got the piece of paper, and I went in, you know, and you eventually start reading for parts, and then it was, I don't know, you know, I never went to a class. I went to one class, it scared the crap out of me, you know. I wasn't into questions like, you know, trying to figure out what Hamlet had for breakfast one morning, you know, getting into the whole method thing. It's just more natural, just how's it going stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, didn't really take classes. So.
Yeah. And then you've just been working
Just
around?
Just going to readings and, you know, found a good manager and a good agent. They take care of you, and it's up to you just to, you know, to concentrate on that particular job or, you know, a particular audition or meeting or whatever. You know, it's you that, you know, pays them. So you've got to do the work, you know.
Well, now, as Cedric, I mean, you're dealing with lots of swordplay, horseback, things that probably in your neighborhood in Dublin you didn't do a lot of. And if you weren't trained in an acting
We had
school,
sharpened sticks, you know, a couple of rocks.
But quite seriously, obviously the guys who went to an acting school got swordsmanship. And
Yeah,
all
well,
that stuff.
no.
Has it been a problem for you?
At the start, I came away from the pilot with a bunch of scars from sword fighting at the end scene. It was difficult, you know, but we have a great stunt coordinator, Roy, who'd take us out and spend time with us, and, you know, he wouldn't let us roll unless we were prepared to do it. And I've always wanted to pick up a sword anyway and, like, slice someone's head off or something, so it's, you know, came very naturally. Just it's choreography, it's like a dance, you know, so the horse riding was kind of a problem at first.
Had you done any of that?
No, I took one of those silly photos as a kid with, you know, the cowboy clothes on a pony or something. I remember I was scared to death, but I mean, these are huge, huge horses, and, you know, every day you have a couple of spare hours, you can go out and you can, you know, take the horse of your choice and see, you know, you command the horse, see how much power you have over him. So eventually, yeah, I'm comfortable now on them, you know, but I had to do that one scene where I get reared up, and that was quite scary because the horse could have fell back, and I under it, but, you know, I jumped off, so that's enough. Stop.
Okay, if you would tell me who you play and a little about her.
I play Eleanor Gray, the daughter in the Gray family, who's a very emotional character, very kind of a hero in a way, tomboy, kind of, I don't know, I'd like to think that I'm sort of, you know, kind of a Joan of Arc, but, you know, without being religious or anything like that. That's sort of how, so far.
And in your mind, when people ask you what you're doing and what the show is about, what is it about?
It's about, well, it's basically about a family in medieval England, but mainly just about a family, and sort of, I'd say, an adventure, kind of an adventure series. Just sort of about things that families go through, kind of, you know, been, you know, updated in a way, the issues a little bit, you know, but basically just about this family and the strength in the family.
Now, among some of the people who've seen the show initially, who screened it before it went on the air even, there were those who questioned or were bothered a little by the nature of the two women. by the kind of free-spirited and independent way that they had. Now, when you first read the script, did that surprise you? Did you have a feeling to that, or did it just seem natural?
Well, I definitely wasn't bothered by the women's roles being strong. I think that, in history there were very few women that you read about who were very strong, but there were women in history like that who were, you know, had business sense and who were very powerful. I mean, you know, queens, certain queens, and definitely women in history. So it definitely, I mean, I was pleased by it. I wasn't bothered, and I think there are other things that are probably less the period than having the women's be strong. You know, I think that that's one of the things that was appealing to us, you know.
Yeah, I would think that probably you're of a generation that grew up with women, older women who are, you know, taking their own place in the world and doing those things that maybe 2 or 3 generations ago would have seemed odd.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, you mean women's roles or just women
I mean
in
women
general?
in life, I mean people that you knew,
right.
that you looked at when you were a child.
It's true. I guess in certain countries it's still, you know, going to be, you know, the women are going to be kind of play a subservient role, and that's just the way it works. And I guess the sort of women's generation began in the 60s and the 70s, I suppose. But I suppose, I mean, for me, I just saw women kind of in the world as men were. So that's been my view.
Now, for you as the working actress working on this, the nature of this show, and by that very style of your character, calls for a lot of physical stuff with swords, with horseback riding, with running, jumping, that British actors kind of are taught in school and always. Were you, or is this coming new to you?
Well, I've never really played a kind of action adventure role before, but I think it's sort of in actors naturally to kind of be able to do things, you know, in 2 days, or, you know, you have to be a musician, so you kind of learn a little bit, you know, about an instrument, and it's kind of, that's part of the job, that you take to something really quickly, and I think it must be in most actors. So all the physical stuff, fortunately the stunt people are brilliant, and they really do prep you, you know, but I don't know, the past couple of days, some of the stunts that we've been doing. Yeah. Yesterday we jumped from this roof was 10 feet tall, and I had someone sort of leading me down, but it was really kind of ridiculous. But it's been fun. The sword fighting, I was surprised. I thought it would be a nightmare in the armor and in the sun. It was like the one hot day in England, and I had to be wearing all of that stuff. But I was very into it. It definitely is, you know, kind of developing the role for me. You know, it gets me into it.
Yeah, I had also wondered about that, because there's in your previous work, from what I know, well, of course there was the Napoleon, but I did think he was a very contemporary kind of actress, and now you've got 40 pounds of wardrobe that you're wearing. Is the physical weight a greater problem than the reality that comes from wearing it? How do you feel about that?
Well, they make the armor lightweight so that it's not intense. I mean, you know, doing, of course, this, you know, is pre-corsets and all of those things, and because I dress sort of like a man, my clothes are quite comfortable, and when I do have to put on a dress, it's more just sort of, you know, tied up, and so they're not too uncomfortable. Not like certain periods, like Napoleon times. Those dresses definitely are way more uncomfortable.
Now, this, I think, is with food, gas, lodging, and the other things, a very, very intense time in your career. Does it bother you at all to be here doing this instead of in California, where your friends are?
Well, I'm having a really good time here. I thought I would be kind of miserable because I just got married, but luckily, you know, my husband's going to be visiting me, and I have a few friends staying with me, so everyone's going to kind of come over. But I miss my animals and my mother and all of that. But I like kind of, you know, I kind of get nervous when things open, you know, movies come out and things like that. So I'm kind of happy to be hidden away. No, I'm having a good time. I'm surprised that, you know, I thought I'd be kind of miserable, but it's good.